guys. So today it's gonna be a short video because I just really just wanted to talk about an idea that I had years ago. I was maybe 10 when I had this idea. It's for a board game, okay? And the idea behind it was that you would play a game that that the game constructed itself while you were playing it, right? That was the basic idea. And so um basically, okay. So let me explain the basic idea for the game, okay? Imagine a board that has like a lot of squares, okay? A bunch of columns and rows of squares, and they're blank, okay, except for one that says starting position, right? And then you have a bunch of blocks, like square blocks, maybe wooden blocks or paper blocks, I don't care. And each one of those blocks says, let's say, for example, like typical board game stuff, sort of like move two extra squares, um, or throw the dice again, or read a card and do whatever it says, or I don't know, um, bonus points, or typical square stuff, right? The typical board game stuff. And then what you do is you throw the dice, right? And then according to whatever number you get on the dice, you move that number of squares in the board, but you also put down a block, right? And one of all the blocks that you've got, one of them is the finish line, right? And the objective of every player is to get to that finish line, right? But you don't start the game with the blocks in the board. You have no blocks in the board, and every round, every time that you place a block. And if you get lucky, you might pull the finish line, right? So the thing is, the game can last, if you're extremely lucky or unlucky, you might get the first block to be the finish line, and so the game is really small. But that's not usually going to happen. Or maybe we could even put a rule in the game that says you have to wait this many turns to include the finish line in the game pool, right? But yeah, that's the basic idea. You play around, you move your character on the board, and you put a block on the board, right? And the more you play, the more blocks you put, and so the more complex the board becomes, right? Um, the thing is, the game has a bit of like fundamental problems with it, right? For example, if you make the characters only be able to move one square at a time vertically and horizontally, right? You risk, or well, you don't risk, you have a problem. And it's that if you put the finish line two blocks up, you're never going to get to it. It's impossible to get unless someone places a block that acts as a stair, right? Essentially. And I think that's a fundamental problem with the game, and I don't really know how to solve it. Maybe you could say, well, let's just say that vertically you can move as many blocks as you want. But then I think you remove a crucial aspect of the game. Like, if you can move vertically at any point, then why would it even be 3D, right? Why would you even need blocks? then just make them squares on a 2D table format, right? You don't need them to be 3D cubes, right? So I don't think that's a solution. Also, another problem the game might have is that you can play it like it is technically different every time that you play it, but it's more or less the same game. Like it doesn't really change that much every time that you play. You always have to play the same way, basically. So I don't think that the game is going to have much replayability. I might be wrong, but you know, I've thought about this many times. But yeah, I think that the main problem with the game is the finish line problem, that sometimes you might not be able to get to it, and the problem with replayability. Other than that, I think it could be a fun game. You'd have to add sort of a card system that tells you, to do certain stuff, or sort of like a jail. Maybe you could add a jail block and then a get out of jail free card, right? Sort of like Monopoly. Or you could add other interesting, shenanigans with cards that you wouldn't get with the normal block system. It is it is interesting to think that there's no game like this, especially after uh, the the way that the game Minecraft um, exploded, right? You'd think there would be a lot of games like imitating that blocky, creative nature. Because I was inspired by the game Minecraft to come up with the idea for this game. And it seems like now we have, Hytale, and there's another, I don't remember the name, but there's another game right now that um similar to Minecraft with sort of blocks, blocky, or I don't remember what it's called, but blocky style of game, creative game, right? And it's interesting that I thought that there would be a lot of games like that. Because it's really easy, basically, to bring that idea into real life. You just need like wooden blocks, basically, or paper blocks, right? And just make the game. Um, but yeah, like I said, this is going to be a short video because I don't really have that much to say about this game. I had the idea many years ago and I never actually made it. I started making it. I did have a bunch of printouts, but they were basically a proof of concept more than the actual game. And yeah, I didn't make any cards, for example. It was just basically to see if the main loop of the game, place, block, move, uh, another one's turn, place a block, move, to see if that was fun. And it was, by the way, it was actually fun. I remember, I think, again, this was really a really long time ago, but I think seem to remember that it was fun. Anyways, it's windy outside, so if you hear a lot of noise, it might be the wind. I don't know how much of the wind seeps into the mic, but yeah, it's really windy. It's like the trees are shaking. So yeah, that's basically the whole video. I don't really have anything else to say today. hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow if I remember to make the video. Which, by the way, I've been making these videos for 3 days in a row, which is pretty impressive for me because I tend to procrastinate and not do stuff and be very lazy with these types of projects. And I've actually made this 3 days in a row, so yoo-hoo. Yeah, anyways, bye guys.